This is certainly fun, different to be on this side of things, and I feel the pressure that guests feel at times when they're trying to be on the show. Hi, it's John Bernatovicz, your host of the HR Like a Boss podcast. Welcome to Season 3. I've embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope of finding what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend.
Over the last 2 years, John has interviewed amazingly awesome HR professionals, learning how they revolutionize the industry, how they're addressing market trends, and what it means to do HR like a boss. On today's episode, we're flipping the script a little bit, and we have a special announcement at the end, so make sure you keep listening. Today's episode is the last one before we go on a small winter vacation. So don't worry if you don't hear one next week, because we'll be back in January. On today's show, I have John Bernatovicz, Mr. Boss Man himself. I know he loves that title. We first met when I was interviewing with Willory over 8 years ago. Our first meeting was in a Panera. And so welcome, John, to your own show. Would you mind telling us about you, your career, and how you cultivated your HR passion?
Bridgette, thanks so much. Appreciate all of your support and effort. And this is certainly fun, different to be on this side of things. And I feel the pressure that guests feel at times when they're trying to be on the show. A little bit about my background. I am the son of two loving parents, an executive in the healthcare space and an artist. So kind of unique combination. Both of my parents were loving, caring people, and encouraged me to get into business. I aspired to be a professional golfer for about a week of my life, and that ended up not coming to fruition, but I'm super excited to own several businesses, and my journeys include stops at companies like ADP and a boutique search firm. And my time started forming the idea of Willory, which is kind of the formation of this podcast and around the book and idea of HR Like a Boss, really to serve the HR and payroll communities with a staffing and consulting service, and founded that back in 2010, and just have poured my heart into trying to serve that community as best as I possibly can.
How would you describe the purpose of HR?
Yeah, so I love this question. It means a lot to me. Obviously, it's the first one of all the podcast guests that are on HR Like a Boss. To me, it's pretty simple. It's about connecting the people to the purpose of your business. And that's really a kind of a light bulb moment that happened in the spirit of writing the book. And I know probably talk more about purpose throughout the course of this show, but the importance of making sure that you have team members, employees, whatever you call those wonderful human resources, that they understand why your organization exists and they connect to it in some personal way. On top of that, if you kind of put cherry on top of that purpose sundae, is that they have an understanding of what your core values are, kind of the rules of engagement, the things you hire and fire to, and that they align to those as well. Doesn't mean they have to be perfect to them. Doesn't mean everybody has to be lockstep and in a line, but they understand what those rules of engagement are, what those core values are. And if you get people that understand your purpose, they align to the most part to your core values, and then we can have a great internal HR function to attract talent that's good at their job or can develop it in between. You have a recipe for a great formula as it relates to success in business and so on.
I think part of the recipe for your success has been relationship building. And so why do you think that's so paramount in human resources? And how can HR professionals do that a little bit better?
And I know I influenced you with that word paramount, because when I wrote the book, that was the most overused word in the manuscript. Yeah, as it relates to kind of that particular component of it, relationship building to me is what makes the world go round. If you think about the things, for those that maybe are retiring or retired that are listening to this podcast, and you look back at your career, more times than not, you're looking at the people you form relationships with, the ones you had experiences working on tough projects, maybe late at night one evening, or you traveled around the country because you were on a road show for some engagement or promotion that you were doing, and the relationships you established with those people end up being what you remember when all this is said and done, being your career. And so to have intention around that and to treat people like you want to be treated in a way that you add value to them, and you look for people that add value into your relationship, make you feel a certain way that you want to feel. And not everyone's going to do that. And obviously you're going to be selective as you get older. At least that's been my experience, in who you bring into your world and cherish that friendship with and spend time with. But to me, you spend so much time working, you might as well do it with people that you like, that you want to spend time with, that you have a common purpose to, that you believe in something together. And if you do that, it doesn't feel quite like work, in my opinion.
So do you have any recommendations on how HR professionals can make an impact on their business?
Yeah, two things stand out to me, and I know I've overshared this probably on this podcast, but you can probably tell it's really important to me. If you do not have a clearly defined purpose that all of your employees can repeat in 4 words or less, then you need to change that, in my opinion. And if you do not have a charitable partner that you are associating your good financial benefits from, and the resources that your organization has with employees that are hopefully like-minded in serving the community, then change that. Change that now. And how do you go about doing that? Well, hopefully buy my book and we'll give you the explanation on what to do. But a quick tease on that is, get your leadership team together and have the discussion with them. Study the difference between mission and purpose. We hear a lot about mission, vision, values, and those things are important, but purpose is very much more aspirational. You'll never achieve it. Like when we say we empower people, we're never going to empower every single person in the world, but we're going to try, like one person at a time. So just think about that. Make it simple with 4 words or less. Educate your organization about it. That's the first thing I'd recommend. The second thing I would tell you is that you need to fight like a mama bear for your employees. I think at times I've noticed my own wife, advocate and fight for my children. And there is no way in the world I am going to get between her and whatever she's trying to advocate for on their behalf. And I've seen other people in that situation where something's going on with their children, and then they are fighting for them. And I cannot tell you enough, in that analogy, hopefully people can resonate with, that it really is up to you to advocate for your human resources, your talent. And if you're not doing it, who is? And I don't know the answer to that question, frankly. And that's why writing HR Like a Boss was so important to me, to empower and encourage and recognize the great work that HR does. And at the same time, be able to give you tools and resources to be able to be that advocate for your employees and fight for them, whether it be in compensation, in recognition, in employee development, in programs, in doing their job more successfully, whatever it might be. If you're not fighting for them, who is? And so I can't encourage you enough to make that purpose clear and advocate for your employees all the time, nonstop, no questions asked.